What's up everyone, Art here. Today we're going to be installing the Overtake Hella Horn kit for the VB22 Plus WRX. You guys can see the full kit laid out right here. I do want to mention that you could buy the parts individually. The bracket and the wiring are for sale by themselves on overtakeusa.com. But if you do bundle it all together, you save a couple bucks that way. The individual parts of the kit include the Supertones from Hella, the Overtake bracket, and the plug-and-play two-piece wiring harness. I'm going to unbox all of this, show you what's inside the kit, and then we're going to pull the bumper off this car, install it all. By the end of the video, you guys are going to get to hear what this sounds like. We'll start with the Supertones. You guys are probably familiar with these. These are from Hella. When you open the box, you get two of them inside here with some universal brackets. What you're going to do is take it out of the packaging and then pull this nut off to get that factory bracket off. Now this is tightened pretty hard from Hella, so just a word of advice, you may need to get a little bit of help or like a vise to get this off. Next up is going to be the Overtake bracket. Let's open that up and show you exactly what's in it. The bracket itself, and then a couple bits of hardware. Of course, the Overtake sticker. Now you can see this has a ton of adjustability for the horns themselves, and then a couple different ways to mount it depending on if you have a bash bar up front, maybe a front mount intercooler. I'll show you exactly how this fits up once we get the bumper off. Now straight away when you open up the harness, you can feel how high quality it is, and you're gonna notice that it's two pieces. I'm gonna get into why that's important when we pull the bumper off and start installing the horns. You can see the sheathing is super nice on the outside. The quality is just really high. And one of the best parts is it has a plug and play connector for both sides, like a factory one. Now, most competitors don't do this. It makes it a lot more of a clean install and just a polished product. For a lot of people, this kit is their first modification, so I want to make the walkthrough nice and easy for you. It's going to involve removing the bumper, but don't get intimidated by that. It's actually incredibly easy. First things first, pop the hood, and we're going to start up top. Now, unless you guys have been prototyping products like we have, you can ignore all the little dots. What you're gonna need to focus on is the 10 mil bolts all across the front. Just go ahead and remove all of those. There should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then don't forget about the 3 clips on the top side, starting with this one over here. Side of the car, make sure you do these 2 pop clips right there using a little screwdriver or a pick like this. You press that in, and then you can see it pops right out. I got those 2 off. Don't forget about the other side when you get over there. But before we do, why don't we start on the underside? You're gonna have a total of 8 plastic clips down there. You guys probably can't see it too well, but starting right here, we're gonna make our way around the car. As long as you got those bolts up top and all the clips off, then you can just pull up on the bumper and it'll pop right out. Just be careful that it doesn't fall and scratch anything. One thing to mention with the bumper skin off is this is a base model, so there's no fog lights, but if you have a higher trim, then you will have to disconnect those. So make sure you don't just yank on this, you might pull out the wiring. With the bumper off, you can see exactly where the bracket's gonna mount right here. So the center slotted hole is gonna go right on that stud. And like I mentioned, there's a couple different orientations that you can mount this in, depending if you have something up front. The standard orientation is gonna be just like this, with the horns recessed in a little bit for maximum clearance. But before we tighten this on here, I want to get it back on the ground and mock up the horns. You can take the nut off of that and then pick the slotted portion. Usually we go in the center, maybe out a little bit, depending on how you like the look of it. You guys can do a little bit of a mock-up on the car just to make sure the horns are where you like them. Once you're there, tighten these up, and then now you're ready to put the harnesses on. You guys saw that this is a two-piece harness system. It's gonna be super easy to install it. You just slide it on the spade connectors right here, and polarity doesn't matter, so I can mix these up and it wouldn't make a difference. Just do the same thing on the other side. And then we're gonna be ready to install this whole thing. I think this is a good opportunity to pause and show you exactly why we have a two-piece harness system and most of the competitors out there don't. Now, from some of the feedback that we've gotten, VB owners have had a couple occurrences of the fuses blowing when you have a large aftermarket horn setup like a Hella Supertone. Now, the reason we discovered is because there's actually two fuses for the horns, one 7.5 for each individual horn. In the past, it was a 15 amp fuse for the pair, and you wouldn't really have any sort of fuses blowing unless you were running something like a 4-horn setup, which isn't pretty typical. Now, the fuses are right there. You guys are gonna have to worry about it with our kit because they're not gonna blow the individual ones since the routing is gonna go to each fuse. It doesn't make the install any more difficult. It's all plug and play, and it avoids the major issue that other guys have. With all that being said, I think we should install the kit. Now, depending on how you want to route, you can just put this up and sneak this through. What I'm going to do is actually pull it off the horn and then find the front of the frame rail. There's a little slot here that I'm going to fish it through, and then I can pull it out the front side right there and up to the top. Now, this is going to make for a really clean install. You're not even going to be able to see the lines after this is all attached. On the other side of our harness, you're going to see that connector and then a ground. And what we're going to want to do is remove the factory horn. You can see it right here. That's just as easy as pulling the bolt off. Unclipping the connector. Then clipping ours in. Like I mentioned, it's a factory plug and play. And then the ground can go right where the horn came off. The setup is exactly the same on this side for the secondary horn. So again, I'm going to feed this through the frame rail area, get it up to the horns, and then on this side, disconnect the horn, get it off, and get the ground on. Before we attach the bracket fully, let's plug the wiring back in if you unplugged it. Make sure it's seated on the spade connectors nicely. And again, the polarity doesn't matter, so either orientation is fine on this. And go ahead and put that up like this. Throw one of the nuts on here, and then we provide a nut and bolt to go on the other side. Well, there we have it. That's all for the install on the OVERTAKE VB Hella Horn kit. It was super easy. Even with taking the bumper off, it took me about 20 minutes. Now, before you wrap everything up, go give it a good honk. Make sure all your wiring is plugged in correctly, but it is a plug and play harness, so it should be all good. After that, all you gotta do is throw the bumper back on and go enjoy your new aggressive horn setup. I'm gonna have Owen throw together a little before and after on the factory horns versus the Supertones. If you guys like what you hear, all you got to do is hit the link in the description below or head over to overtakeusa.com and pick up the full kit. And of course, if you like what we're doing with our company, make sure to follow along on social media at OVERTAKE USA.